Hey yo, what up, G? You riding with the rapper today who wasn't able to blow up, so he decided to go scam. This is the story of Scotty Huss, aka JR Yakko. He has over 3.2 million followers on his JR Yakko Instagram page. He's also active on TikTok, YouTube, Spotify. Scott Huss grew up wanting to be a rapper, so he decided to call himself JR Yakko. Now I'm sure JR stands for something. Don't know what Yakko mean. Kind of sounds like a yak, but I'm sure he's not talking about being a yak. He probably doesn't even know what a yak is. He overlaps Scotty Huss and JR Yakko so much, it's hard to understand what's what. But when you look on YouTube, you'll see his music videos posted under his name Scotty Huss, not under his rap name JR Yakko. But if you go on something like Spotify, you'll see, well, he only has 2-digit followers, so obviously this guy's a failed rapper. But if you go over to YouTube, you see his video here has 1.7 million views. So I wanted to look closer at his video to see, did he actually have this traction, or is he just trying to buy his influence? What I noticed is he does have 183 comments. I found this person called Glorilla. Now, have y'all ever heard of this person, Glorilla? Apparently she's got millions of views, but her name just sounds like a gorilla to me. And Glorilla had over 2,000 comments on a video that only had 1.2 million plays. Views are views, whether you have subscribers or not is irrelevant. Seeing that Huss has only 10% of the comments on this video makes me think that his views might be embellished. The irony in JR Yakko's rapping career is that his song lines mirrored his real life crimes. One verse even bragging, quote, "Money moves they'll never trace. I'm 10 steps in a ghost race." Well, I hate to foreshadow things for Mr. Yakko here, but they did trace his money moves, and he was not the only ghost in that race. And of course, part of being a rapper is to portray the image of massive success, you know, jets, Lamborghinis, and I don't need to explain, it was Airbnbs, rentals, and cars that he didn't actually own. And his catchphrase was building legacies through fashion, music, and luxury. That doesn't mean you're doing something successful. I mean, a legacy can be literally anything. I had a legacy in high school when we had homecoming. I drank 23 Mountain Dews in one night. Like, I had a legacy for that. That doesn't mean I'm famous. It doesn't mean I'm successful at anything. The following year, one of my friends tried to beat me on it. We went do for do. He tapped out at like 13. I'm like, bro, you can't ride with the big dog. On the surface, he wants you to think he's a baller, but the truth, he doesn't have it like that. He doesn't really have it at all. He's struggling to make ends meet. Money is not flowing in well, so he has to come up with a way to make money. Now remember, he's making money moves in a ghost race. Now the question is though, what ghost race is this? Is it a legitimate race? Is he doing it the honorable way, building a legacy? No. When his rap career didn't take off like he wanted to, he pivoted into scamming. The PPP loan fraud. That's right. During COVID, the government was handing out loans. Bam, bam, bam. And people started to realize, well, you could create a business, apply for these PPP loans, and they're basically just throwing them out at everybody. Fill out the form, approved, approved. And Huss realized that, hey, if I just fill out these loan applications, the government will give me a lot of money. And that's exactly what he did. He submitted at least 6 PPP loan applications. He very well may have done more, but we have 6 confirmed, and received over $609,000 from the government. Here's how he did it. He created fake companies or hijacked real business names. He lied on the application claiming up to 10 employees per business. Was that true? Absolutely not. And the annual revenue of the business in hundreds of thousands. Is that true? Absolutely not. All they required was IRS tax form 940 and 941, which Huss got a hold of and simply forged. No, he actually went balls deep in this scam, and it's pretty crazy to think. And he also went as far as creating payroll summaries to give the impression that this is a real business. All of the loan applications were submitted digitally through fintech platforms, which is a financial technology that processed PPP loans at such high volume, and they really didn't decline anybody unless something was egregiously wrong. But since he submitted all of his forms, even though they're fraudulent, they didn't notice. However, they did catch on later that multiple companies used the same phone number and similar email formats. And it's not even hard to get multiple numbers. You literally can get some phone numbers for free. There's apps that has free phone numbers you can use. He did use different bank accounts for each company, appearing to keep them separate, but he all routed them back to him personally, which created a clear trail for authorities to catch on and find what he did. Instead of spending the money on payroll or rent as required by the PPP loan program, Bitcoin, 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 Bitcoin. But don't think he spent all of that on cryptocurrency. He put $27,000 down on a Lamborghini Urus, and he covered personal travel and lifestyle expenses. But I don't understand the logic that this guy has. What is Scott Huss thinking? I want a Lamborghini? No, buy something legitimate. Buy a second passport. Buy a house and I don't know, Serbia. Something that gives you some type of tangible asset. You're literally gonna go to prison for nothing. You have nothing to show for it. I want to take 10 seconds and say, please leave a like and subscribe to my channel. I don't take sponsorships on this video, so you're never going to hear, this video is brought to you by Surfshark. I don't do that, so if you please like and support my channel, I will do my best to keep it that way. By 2023, Huss owed over $300,000 in debt on his luxury vehicles. J.R. Yacko has to keep up his impression, man. He's a flexer. So instead of paying his cars off legitimately, he tried to pay them off with falsified checks. Here's how he did it. He created fake payment vouchers that looked like cashier checks. He included fake routing numbers, Federal Reserve marks. He even included official-looking watermarks and seals to appear authentic. But what is Huss thinking in this situation? Like, it's clearly a fake check. They know who he is. They know where the cars are. What are you realistically expecting to happen out of this? He mailed them to Mercedes-Benz Financial Services and Automobile Acceptance Corporation. His goal, I think, was to have the banks record the payment as cleared so they would release the car titles to Huss, and then he would legally own the car before the check bounced and they realized this was a fraudulent payment. Banks aren't as dumb as the government is. They flag the payments as invalid within days, and whenever you do a large transaction like this, it always works like that. There will be a hold almost always when you do a massive transaction. I think it's over like $10,000, and here he's doing hundreds of thousands of dollars. Absolutely no chance this was going to work. His banks alerted authorities and they froze his assets altogether, and this triggered federal mail fraud and wire fraud investigations. This is how the feds caught on to Scotty Huss. I don't know if they would have caught on to him by now if he didn't do this. He screwed himself. And why in the world you would go and try to do some obvious scam like this that you know you're going to get caught on when you are committing PPP fraud? Bro, you should be as subtle as anyone in the world. They shouldn't even know you exist. Even if he got the car from the company, they're going to sue him, get it back, get punitive damages because he knowingly committed fraud, and he's still going to get charged with this crime. But what is a scammer without doing some type of crypto scam? Huss promoted multiple cryptocurrency schemes and used PPP funds to gamble in unstable or fake tokens, Ultron and Mavi Global. Now this was flagged immediately by crypto watchdogs as a pyramid-style crypto program, and he encouraged his followers on social media to buy in early and post referral links. And on Instagram, he flaunted his token logos, showing that he's apparently a massive success in the crypto space, building his crypto legacy, as he would want to say, although he has not been charged to this as of 2025. His success didn't come from cryptocurrency, his success came from stealing PPP loan money. The reason he used crypto is because it was a money-moving vehicle, allowing him to shift funds between wallets. He attempted to obscure his PPP money by converting it to crypto wallets under different names and basically just pass it around. He held USDT and Ethereum in wallets not linked to his official identity, but the investigators quickly found wallet addresses on his laptop and his phone backups once he was taken by the authorities. This guy is the ultimate definition of hot and cold. One minute he's doing something that actually makes me say, dang, this guy might actually be pretty smart for a scammer, and then he does something that's so stupid, you just have it sitting right there for the authorities to see. Now you might be saying, well, it's about time the authorities take him in. He's done a bunch of fraud. You gotta take him in, put this man in jail. He wants to go show his booty one more time. Here's what happens. He got in a fake diplomatic immunity issue with a beat cop. Now he was driving down the road with his girlfriend in this white Audi Q5 with this license plate that was a little bit different. It was a custom non-citizen diplomat license plate from online sovereign citizen design templates. There is nothing more suspicious than a license plate that says non-citizen diplomat on it. They were pulled over by a random beat cop who asked for license and registration, which is what happens when you get pulled over, and any normal person would just hand it over and hey, here you go. But instead, his girlfriend handed a passport and refused to hand a license. While Huss was in the passenger seat coaching her every step of the way, when the cop asked for documentation, Huss apparently yelled and said, quote, "You have no jurisdiction over this vehicle or her person." The cop obviously wasn't convinced at this point, so he decided to dig a little bit deeper and ask, "Where are you from? What diplomat are you?" And Huss wouldn't give an answer. So this was his claim, that he's a diplomat, but he doesn't know where he's a diplomat from, or he simply doesn't want to say. I mean, you would expect that he would at least have some answer prepared instead of simply not revealing anything. Okay, I'm Santa Claus. Where's the proof at, bro? Now, I can only imagine that cop just sitting there and just wanting to smack this guy in the face, saying, "What the heck are you talking about?" He called back up and the whole squad came up and said, "Hell no. This ain't gonna fly, big dog. You need to get out of the car." Huss and his girlfriend was kicked out of the car. Mercado, who is Huss's girlfriend, was arrested, and the car was seized and immediately taken to an impound line. The diplomatic ID and plate were eventually traced back to no country, to no agency. They were fraudulent at their core, and investigators, when and looking in the apartment found dozens of sovereign citizen documents as a whole. This whole sovereign citizen thing would be the baseline of Scotty Huss's defense, trying to weasel out of the consequences of his actions. First, he tried to say the courts had no jurisdiction over him at all, claiming that they are governed by natural law or common law instead of federal or state law. Well, that just doesn't work. Then he tried to claim that he had some $10 billion bond or something for his release, and that since he's a private American citizen and has a private trust, these court filings just don't apply to him. This is actually a pretty common defense when you follow the sovereign citizen doctrine, trying to hint at that there's a difference between Scotty Huss, the name on paper, and the individual standing in the courtroom. It's a way to try to separate you from your actions. He's obviously an American citizen, so the court wasn't happy with that. They weren't having it. But when they were analyzing his case, they had to ask a couple of things. First thing, is he a flight risk? And the court determined he is the textbook definition of a serious flight risk, because he already evaded arrest by traveling under false names and possessed multiple international passports as it is. Additionally, there is speculation that Huss made improper contact with prosecutors, marshals, and judges, attempting to unseal the case documents, believing that US laws simply do not apply to him. He is delusional. The judge obviously was having none of this and threw all that sovereign citizen stuff out and said, no, you're going to go on trial. And that's exactly what he did. He was charged on 10 counts, 6 counts of wire fraud for each of the 6 businesses that he defrauded with the PPP loans, 2 counts for mail fraud for sending the fake checks to try to steal the cars, 1 count of money laundering, and 1 account of impersonating a foreign diplomat. Huss would not actually go to trial because he would accept a plea deal to only 1 of the 10 charges for just 1 count of wire fraud. He would admit guilt, saying that he knew he was giving false information to the government to obtain the relief funds during the pandemic. He acknowledged he spent that money on cars, crypto, personal enrichment, not for what it was supposed to, and he agreed to pay back the $600,000 that he stole as restitution. I mean, you can't really get out of that. They're going to make you pay that back whether you want to or not. Part of this agreement was that he waives his right to appeal both his conviction and sentence, basically meaning that whatever happens with this 1 count is what's going to happen. And the judge came to a decision that I want to know what you guys think about this, because I'm happy that the judge sent this guy to jail. I'm a little disappointed because they only sentenced him to 27 months in prison, which is 2 years and 3 months, and just dismissed the other 9 counts for mail fraud, money laundering, and wire fraud. The reason for the plea deal is that it saved the justice system from having to pay for a trial, but I feel like you're letting someone who did some pretty egregious things off the hook. I've covered guys like this who's done wire fraud, just outright scams, and they got decades in prison, or certainly multiple years. I feel like 2 years is kind of a slap on the wrist. I can sleep good tonight knowing there's one less guy out there trying to flex online and pretend to be rich when he's nothing more than a con artist. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. I'll see you next week.